My boyfriend of 7 years doesn't want to marry me because he thinks I'm using him as a visa mule. I, 29F, moved to the US 7 years ago as a graduate school student from Indonesia. I met my boyfriend, 30M, a few months after I moved, and we've been together ever since. My boyfriend is a US citizen. After I graduated, we had a serious discussion about the direction of our relationship. I made it very clear that I wanted to eventually get married and have children. My boyfriend echoed these sentiments. I remember asking him if he saw that happening with me because I didn't want to be in a relationship with no future. He told me he loved me, and that we were definitely headed in that direction. As of last week, we've been dating for 7 years. We've occasionally talked about marriage, but we were both busy with our respective careers, so the timing didn't seem quite right. However, recently my company announced that there's a chance that my department's work will be outsourced. I'm on an H-1B visa. In case you didn't know, it's a non-immigrant visa that allows US companies to employ foreign workers in specialty occupations. This means that I need to start looking for a job as soon as possible if I want to continue staying in the US. Last week, during our anniversary, I brought this up. I asked him if he thought it was the right time to consider getting married, as that would also help with sorting out my visa issues. He looked like he was about to vomit. After much prodding, he confessed that he hadn't been planning for us to get married until I could obtain residency in the US on my own. I was incredibly confused because he had never mentioned this before. His reason was that he didn't want to be used as a visa mule by me, and that he wanted to ensure that I married him because I loved him, not just as a means to stay in the US, which can only happen when I obtain a green card. It took me a while to process what he said, and I asked him if he would be okay moving to Indonesia with me, to which he expressed reluctance. I did not react well and ended up leaving because I couldn't deal with what had just happened. I am still in disbelief. I started dating him because he was the kindest, most thoughtful, and generous man I'd ever met. I now feel like I wasted 7 years. While the visa issues are certainly a problem, I did not date him with the intention of making him my safety net. I cannot believe that even after nearly a decade together, he doesn't know what kind of person I am. I feel like this relationship is possibly over, and it hurts. It hurts so much. Update 1. Before I get to the update, I would like to address some comments. Getting permanent residency in the US is not easy. I know people who've been here for 15+ years who are still waiting for their chance at permanent residency. For those of you who DM'd me, calling me a gold digger, you guys made me laugh. I am aware of the legalities around sponsoring a spouse for permanent residency, including the financial aspect. It shouldn't have been a problem for the following reasons. I'm a STEM major who recently shifted into management, and I work for a large company and do quite well for myself. My boyfriend is a teacher, and our incomes are not comparable. He earns around $60K while I earn close to $300K, and we've been living together for 6 years. We have a shared account to pay for expenses like rent and utilities, into which we both deposit a percentage of our salary. The rest of our money goes into our private accounts, and we don't manage each other's money. Because I'm pretty frugal, I've saved up quite a bit of money in the form of savings and investments. If my boyfriend was worried about the legality of sponsoring me financially for 10+ years, I would have happily discussed moving the money around. I was even considering buying a house, so we could have made that a joint ownership thing. The point is, we could have figured it out. I haven't relied on him financially ever, and I didn't intend on doing that in the future. Now, for the actual update, he is now my ex-boyfriend. I took a few days to collect myself and then reached out to him, wanting to talk. He agreed. It turns out that he has been insecure about earning less than I have for a while. Apparently, his friends have been poking fun at our relationship, calling me the sugar mommy because I take care of most of the expenses. He never told me this until now. He apparently didn't feel like an equal because our pay differs so much and started feeling that I was only with him as a quick way to get permanent residency here. I was speechless. I couldn't believe that his friends gaslighted him into doubting our relationship. I reminded him of how he had supported me when I was in grad school, like getting me groceries when I had little money to spare, allowing me to stay with him rent-free in my last year of grad school to help me minimize expenses so I didn't have to take out a loan, and letting me use his car when I was attending interviews. I told him that he did those things because he loved me, and me taking on the majority of household expenses since I started working is my way of paying him back for all the things he did for me back then. He said that he gets what I'm saying, but also that he didn't expect me to start earning more than him straight off the bat. I asked if there was any chance he'd consider going to couples therapy, and he declined because he didn't think he was being unreasonable. He said that he wanted to be the provider in a relationship and that he didn't feel like one in ours, so there's no going back from this unless I quit my job and found another that paid substantially less, which isn't going to happen. Well, long story short, we broke up. His family is in disbelief because they were hoping that he would propose soon, and I've moved into an Airbnb for now. A little bit of good news to end this update with. My company offered me a similar role in a different department. However, this is based out of France, and there's a small decrease in pay. I've always dreamed of living in Europe, and I've accepted this offer. I've signed the relocation agreement, and I'll move there in the next 8 to 12 weeks, so I'm excited to start this next chapter of my life.